Hey guys, Kapper here. If you like machines, if you like ATVs, Can-Am, Polaris, whatever kind in the outdoors, then join me. I'm gonna do my full review right here and right now. I've loved this machine. It's been 1 year. We're gonna go over all of that. I'm gonna tell you why I bought it, but also I'm gonna tell you 4 things that I'd like to see a little differently on it if I'd have had my way. So anyways, let's get into it. Thanks a lot. Hey guys, welcome back. Today's gonna be a great video. I'm gonna tell you all the reasons that I love my Can-Am Outlander XT850, but I'm also gonna tell you 4 things that I would have done differently or what I would have liked to have done differently at the end of this video. So if you like ATVs, you like riding, you like Can-Am or even other brands, I'm gonna make some comparisons on this 1 year review of this machine. So let's get into it. All right, so I've had this Can-Am for about 1 year now, and it's about ready for its, I think, 50-hour oil change. I'm almost to that point. The reasons that I got it, I'm gonna link a couple videos for you as far as my reasons why I picked this over a new Polaris. There was some things that I really liked about it, which I guess I'll get into now. One of the things that I liked about it is that there are 9 different adjustments you can make to this thing electronically. So you have your intelligent throttle control, you got a work, standard, and sport mode. You've got power steering levels, 1, 2, and 3. And what's the other thing? Power steering. Oh, engine braking. Yes, engine braking. You can adjust that to 3 different levels as well. I'll tell you, this thing is a whole different feel than. Check this out. So another one of the upgrades this year. This thing turns on a dime. I put the power steering on minimum. So those are 9 different settings in all that you could personalize the ride. All right, in a minute I'm going to show you the adjustments, but on this run I put the engine braking setting on medium and I accelerated, and I'm going to let off right before I come to the camera here just to get a feel for the medium setting of the engine braking in high gear. I got this unit. It's mostly a work unit. It's 80% work, 20% play. I'd like to change that at some point and do more play, but hey, it is what it is. It's been a great machine. I mean, everything I've thrown at this, it has done easy peasy. The biggest problem I had with my last machine, I had a Polaris. It was a couple years older. I think it was a 2020 maybe. I'm not positive. But it would overheat from time to time, my ATV. And so far, the things I've done with this, and I pull some heavy stuff behind this, doing food plotting and land management. I pull a very heavy dead weight cultipacker, for the final step of food plots or planting lawns. That is just dead weight. I also pull a heavy drag. That's also, when you put the spikes down, it digs the ground up, so it's a lot of drag on the machine itself.
Looks like it does a pretty nice job.
And I pull a different drag. I've used a lighter drag. You could put the drag on the back side. That's a lot easier. I've done some trail riding with it. I like it. It has not overheated once on me. You know, through all the work stuff I've put it through, it has not overheated once. And I've loaded it with gear and equipment, and it's just been rock solid. I'm gonna show you one of the other things that sold me on it that I really like. I really like this link system. It's, I think LINQ maybe, but I really, really like this. I have two different baskets. Everything latches on with these little latches. And because it's a work machine, this link system is really nice. I have two different baskets on. The first one is just a storage basket for the front where I can put stuff in it, gloves and ratchets and headphones and all kinds of stuff in there. Hey guys, Kapper here, welcome back. I just bought my second heavy duty front basket that works on the link system for Can-Am, and you might be like, why get another one when I have one? Well, first of all, they're extremely handy on an ATV, especially on a farm, just for the storage. But then the second one, it's the exact same basket, but I fabricated it. I didn't fabricate it, I just needed duct tape. But I put my ATV seeder on it, you know, a seed spreader. And I could literally take it off in like 6 or 7 seconds, on and off.
There we go.
It is super convenient, super easy with that link system, and I use that planter a lot on this ATV. One of the other things I liked on it was the overall package of what it came with, that you have to add on some other ATVs. It came with the LED headlights, the high beams, came with the front bumper, came with the winch, came with the rear bumper. I forgot what exactly this bar is for. I'm just being honest. I don't remember if that was an add-on or if that's just part of how it's built. Comes with a 2-inch receiver. It does not have a front 2-inch receiver, but to be honest, I don't know that I would put one to use or not. I mean, seriously, I'm not sure if I would or not. One of the other things that came with it that's handy for me in the woods is these hand guards. They're part of the package. I got the XT850 camouflage. As I mentioned, the reasons that I picked it, but one of the other reasons that I really, really liked on this thing is that there is no hesitation. When you put it in drive, which it's one of the things I would change, by the way, but when you put it in drive or reverse, there is zero hesitation of this thing engaging. As soon as you hit that, as soon as you hit the throttle, it goes. I really, really like that. I'm not gonna run down Polaris because I own one. There's one right there, and I've had probably 6 or 7 Polarises my whole life. So I'm not gonna run them down. But there is that traditional Polaris lag. If you've ever ridden one, you know what I'm talking about. You know, you put it in gear, you hit the gas, and you gotta wait for it, the clutch to engage. Now, they just came out with a really cool 1500, almost a truck, basically. I'd love to get my hands on one of them, but anyways, I digress. Back to the Can-Am ATV. So I liked the ground clearance. I liked all the specs on it. This thing has had plenty of power. I have used it in both work mode and standard mode. And just, as a matter of fact, just yesterday I put a new lawn in and I had it in a work mode and it actually wasn't enough power. It's not that it wasn't enough power, it was the computer was metering the power so that it delivers it more slowly. But I didn't want that. I wanted to go. Boom. So I just hit the little electronic button, turned the work mode off, went back to standard, and poof, off it went. I needed that zip when I was pulling that drag. So I liked the ground clearance, I liked the package overall and the pricing. It was expensive. I'm gonna have to dig up what I actually paid. I don't wanna guess. If I can find it, I'll give it to you guys. It was probably 11 or 12,000, something along them lines. It does have these key fobs that I don't know if I'm a fan of this yet or not, to be honest. It's like the new cars, you know, there's no key anymore. This thing has to be within, you know, 2 feet of this for the thing to work. I do have one of these programmed at a reduced speed. I haven't tested the difference. I have actually tried it, but I didn't notice a lot of difference if it was reduced. But I'm telling you, this thing has so much speed and power and torque. All right, Phil's trying it out. Just take it easy ride, nice and easy.
Yeah, no problem.
Nice. He got a little burnout. That's probably not good letting him ride that one. It's just really been a great machine. So some of the things I've done with it, I'll show you a few clips here, and I'll put a couple links in the description of some videos that I have done on this over the last year. But I have really liked it. I really have. It's been a solid machine. Only one time it didn't start for me. The battery was dead, and what happened was it was operator error. It was my fault. I hardwired the planter, a seeder on it, and the screw in the battery got loose. So that'll drain your battery if you know anything about batteries. Not that I'm an expert. So I tightened that up, and ever since it's never had a problem. Other than that, never had an issue with the way it runs and that. Now, I'm going to tell you some of the things that I would have liked to seen better. Can-Am, if anybody watches, take it for what it's worth, especially with a work machine. I could use a little softer ride. You know, my back is wrecked. I mean wrecked. And so I'm more into the softer ride than the stiffness and performance. I do have my shocks on all the way on soft, but it still could be a little bit softer. I do like the seat. The seat is really nice and soft. It does help compensate for the little bit stiffer ride, but it has a really nice and padded seat. It's firm enough, but yet it really does help with the bumps. There's 3 or 4 other things too that I would probably do differently. The shifting lever. Let me show you the shifting lever here quick. All right, here's the shifting lever. You can see it's got bump outs for each of them. Now I get that, and I get the reasoning for it. It locks it in a lot better. And for trail riding and stuff, that's probably a little safer. But I do like the Polaris inline where you just, it's inline. There's none of these bump outs. And when you're doing field work like me, that makes it a lot easier. Now, the shifter itself, I'm not sure what they could do differently, but it's still wonky shifting it. Sometimes you gotta lunge the machine just a little bit, forward and backwards. I figured it would wear in over time, but it hasn't, so it's still, it's still a little wonky sometimes. Not all the time, but enough to where you're like, all right, you know, like I said, you gotta kind of back it up, and I don't want to force it too hard. I don't want to force it too hard because I have been known to break things. So anyways, that's the second thing I would change, is either make this smoother or consider just an inline. I don't think you can have an either or mode, like put it in work mode and all you got to do is go forward and back, like if you're plowing or food plotting, and then maybe driving mode, like ATV riding, to have it lock in somehow. Might be too much to ask for, but this shifter is just, if it was smooth and easy all the time, it would be better. All right, that's the second thing. Oh yeah, I forgot, one of the other things I forgot to mention that I liked was the arched A-arms in the front. Check this out. So another one of the upgrades this year. Again, I wasn't sure if my XT had it or only the XTP, but it does have arched A-arms. So it's got increased clearance. And the shocks, there's several different shocks that they upgraded for the XT and above. So I'm thinking a better ride, but definitely good stuff. Gives you a little more clearance, you don't high center as much, so I like them arched A-arms. The other thing that I would change is the four-wheel drive system. There's actually two parts of it that I'm not sure why they do it. I'm guessing it's for a price tier level. So you've got, they call it VSCO lock. Now, like on the Polaris machines, it's all automatic. So when your tires, let's take your two rear tires, when one of them spins 1/52nd of a turn, don't ask me why I remember that number, but I do. 1/52nd of a turn, which is only, whatever, a couple inches. Then it automatically locks in your four-wheel drive. The same with the front tires. That's on Polaris. So the Can-Am VSCO lock has multiple levels of VSCO lock. The one that I got, which I didn't really pick it, it just happened to be on this machine. If I could pick it, I probably would have went with an actual real locker. But that being said, I have tested the VSCO lock on it, and it ain't bad. It works just fine. I'll put a clip in here and a link in the description. All right, here's a clip from one of my riding videos. You're gonna see my front tire come off of the ground here, and this demonstrates the VSCO lock. So when that tire comes up off of the ground, you're gonna see that the four-wheel drive kicks in almost instantaneously. So the VSCO lock QE, which is called Quick Engage, is what I got on my machine. It works just fine. It only turns, I went over like a rocky creek to test it. And when one of your tires gets in the air or whatever, it only turns, I can't say exactly how many inches, but it only turns a few inches, quarter turn or whatever, and then boom, your four-wheel drive locks in. That's for the front of the VSCO lock. Now you could get the full locker, the next level up. There's pros and cons to that because the steering is harder when you're 24/7 locked in. So that's where the VSCO lock does have some advantage with steering. But when you're like going up a real rocky or craggy mountainside or something and you want it locked, it'd be nice to have it locked. So the VSCO lock, I would offer something different. And the biggest thing of the four-wheel drive that I would also recommend is turf mode. This unit here has a fixed rear end, a posi rear end basically. It's full-time two-wheel drive. Now, the advantage of that is there's less parts in that in a differential to go bad. You don't have to have moving parts in there and that. But the disadvantage is anytime you're taking a turn on the lawn or in your driveway, it's going and it's leaving marks in the dirt or the grass or whatever because it's a full two-wheel drive axle. All right, you hear that crunching sound? That's that the rear tires biting in because it's not an open rear end, if you will. I'd love to see a turf mode on, because especially when you're just bombing around the farm and that, it's really handy to just have, basically I call it one-wheel drive. People give me guff about it, but it's true. Turf mode is actually one-wheel drive. That means the engine sends the power to the rear axle and only one of the two tires gets the power, okay? The disadvantage with that is it's easier to get stuck and all that. That's why they have locking differentials. But anyways, I'd love to see a turf mode on this instead of just a fixed rear axle. That would really, to me, be one more thing. For the price point of these things, it would be nice to have that. Make sure I covered the 4 things I wanted to cover. The shifting's a little wonky. The VSCO lock, I'd like to see a better locker. The ride, I'd like to see a little bit smoother. And that rear axle, I'd like to see a turf mode. Other than that, this thing has been awesome. Awesome machine. I've loved it, and I want to do some more fun riding with it. Power steering is awesome. When you're working with it, the power steering really makes a huge difference. I mean a huge difference. I was down the road last weekend helping a horse farmer, and we were doing a lot of work planting out in the pastures, and that power steering, man, it makes a huge difference for fatigue, for trail riding, and for working on a farm. So This has been a great machine. Can-Am, if you ever want to send us one to try out, I'd sure love to do that. And I wouldn't mind trying out the Can-Am Defender, since I've had 3 or 4 Polaris Rangers now over the last 15, 20 years, I guess. But overall, this Can-Am has been solid machine. Never had a problem. Only that one loose wire, like I said, was operator error. Everything else has worked as advertised, and it's been a great machine to use, both fun and productive for work. So I definitely enjoy the Can-Am. I really like it. You can't go wrong with the Can-Am. So best of luck if you guys decide on a machine. Hopefully this helps you. I'll see you on a future video. Thanks a lot. Braking power is plenty, more than enough. Hey guys, Kapper here. If you like machines, all right, this thing turns on a dime. I put the power steering on minimum right now. Check this out. Plenty of power steering, I like it. If you like ATVs, Can-Am, Polaris, whatever kind in the outdoors, then join me. I'm gonna do my full review right here and right now. I've loved this machine. It's been 1 year. We're gonna go over all of that. I'm gonna tell you why I bought it, but also I'm gonna tell you 4 things that I'd like to see a little differently on it if I'd have had my way. So anyways, let's get into it. Thanks a lot.